first slide was supposed to be my introduction, so I can skip that. But I just want to say I'm really grateful to be able to give a talk closing for the exhibition. And going to my roots, it's very exciting too. And it's really, really trippy and weird to me to look at work from like where I was born in the land that I grew up now. And I just love the contrast. It feels like a dream to be here and to speak for the exhibition. And before I start, I want to introduce this notion, this word, this urban slang from Taiwan, from the subculture, kind of underground, almost like a clinger, a very dialectic kind of approach of using to describe something that is between psychedelic experience, trippy, weird, badass, cool. It's like a very hipster term to describe something that you see when you're like on a trip or too drunk to realize that you're into something. So it's kind of a state awareness, I feel, and a state of mind. Some people use the word as for nonsense, for ignorance, for being dumb. But on a deeper level, there is a lot of interesting connotation in this word and lots of different kind of interesting subculture that goes behind this word. And for those people who read like Chinese characters, like that's not Chinese. It's actually a Taiwanese like alphabet that we use when we type. So you learn that in grade 1, and after that you don't look at it anymore, and it's in your head, it's in your body, it's in your blood. So that's something that only Taiwanese people recognize. And you pronounce it as Kiang, and it's an onomatopoeia about like if two metallic objects strike into each other, so and it creates that kind of sound, Kiang. And my friend described it as saying that if, let's say imagine your head got hit by something, and then you just like you're drowsy, you're dizzy, and you're not sure what's happening. And that's kind of the state of that, in that kind of state, yeah. So it's a very hard word to describe. I'm trying my best to actualize it and describe, convey in the more academic and articulating way. But my friend was saying that you can't really articulate the word because this whole word is ambiguous, it's weird, it's strange, and even trying to convey the idea itself is already way too Kiang for the idea to actually make it happen, you know. I actually made a Facebook post online to gather all the people who are in the subculture scene, who you know, in the rave scene, who actually started this word back in, I think it was in the late 90s when rave scene got really big in Taiwan. And all my friends were like just laughing, saying, I basically pulled out a call saying, come on guys, I need help too, like I'm doing a talk at MOA, it's gonna be more serious, I need to somewhat like, it's gonna be somewhat didactic and serious, and I want to be able to articulate this word Kiang. It's like really meaningful in the subculture scene, but most people, you know, in underground doesn't understand what this word means. And everyone just gave me like emoji and smile and laughing, like, what are you trying to describe this word, man? And then one of my friends who actually started using this word is like, man, you gotta understand, it's so Kiang, the fact that you're trying to describe the word Kiang, man. So you just gotta say that out there, let's say people will get it. Okay, so that's it for this word. I'm gonna come back to this word very, very often in this talk, because one of the artists I'll be focusing on is super Kiang out of his mind. Okay. So I'm gonna begin showing some of my works that I've been done in the past, just so you get a sense of who I am and what I do. So I picked this piece because the exhibition is about spirituality. This is the ghost world, the spiritual world. And this recent work of mine, actually, I was dealing with spirits from the forest. This word is called Kodama. Those of you who watch Miyazaki films will know that it's from a character from Miyazaki films. This is Mononoke. you guys are the first one who's seen this. I just edited this footage in the afternoon, and there's a lot more work that no one has seen this work yet. You guys are the first one to see it. It's just for the love of like this expression. So yeah, that piece was premiered in the International Symposium of Electronic Arts last year, and I thought, because I was dealing with the idea of spirituality in the forest, in the natural environment, and the piece is about, like if you understand if you see trees as they're actually spiritual forms, or their spirits living inside, you wouldn't want to cut them, and you want to actually make sure it coexists in the space, right? So there is that environmental side of me that was approaching this piece, and I choreographed for the first time in that piece. So if you listen to the introduction of Yogi's talk to me, that my background is actually in film, actually. And since then, I haven't done film in the last 8 years, actually. And I've been diving into more like interdisciplinary performance, new media art, that kind of stuff. I know it's not making sense right now. It will be. I will spend the first 5 minutes talking about who I am, and then it's going to lead to what I am and myself, this notion of identity. Okay, the next piece I'm going to play. It's my first solo dance performance I did last year at Orpheum Annex. Again, it's the first time I've showed this to anybody. So the reason why I'm playing this is because I encountered a guru from Taiwan that is practicing. I actually shouldn't use the word practice because it sounds too practical, you know? She and I've entered the space of like channeling energy into the body. So your body becomes like a vehicle, a tool to channel to this like universe or energy form that we all have the capability of. So then I realized you don't need to dance. You can just move by the body, what the body tells you, what your intuition tells you. But the work that you can do though is to really forget about dance, or like forget about the notion of framework, of disciplinary, and everything that we are boxed inside, right? So then I spent lots of time like trying to just let go of the mind, let go of the thinking, let go of the framework that we are as artists, that we all do from learning, from education. And I also use the motion tracking you see on the screen within the screen right now. That for me is a way to actualize and translate energy form. So these are some of the things I've been doing that relate to this expression, which is a contemporary scope of the spiritual world, right? I'm playing something that this artist is walking over. I'm playing your work. Sorry, coming back to that last crazy Kiang kind of like footage that was happening. That's like the camera perceiving, and I've written codes in the computer for it to kind of unthink and rethink and reactualize the work I've done on the fly, right? So again, like how can the machine tap into their own intuition and improvise with the artist itself? quite perceiving the space, right? So again, I'm thinking about the contemporary scope and perspective of what goes on in this kind of spiritual world that we're all perceiving at all times. Okay, and the next piece, which I'm very excited. Again, no one has seen the footage yet. I just got them and edited them this afternoon.
We're merely trying to bring people into the confusing world that is culture, that is feeling caught between multiple worlds of culture, that doesn't, where stuff doesn't actually make sense and where there are no hard and fast rules and where you can't just wave your finger and say cultural appropriation, and where there's discomfort on all sides. And I think that's the world that we're moving into.
What the three of us have been trying to kind of interrogate is, because we are visibly non-white, we're often asked to speak for, represent, explain, all of those things. We're often asked to sort of stand up for culture, ethnicity, Indian culture, Chinese culture, and that's a really awkward position to be put in.
As human beings, what do we identify ourselves with, right? So this is my presence, this is who I am, right? And there are also the gaze from the outsider. So what do people identify yourself with, right? So recognition. So these are the two things we've been dealing with in this piece. Like, what is our authentic voice? Who are we truly? And who do we want to be? What do we want to say? What do we want to convey as our presence? As our true human being, as individuals, right? And there we're playing with the identity of what do other people see us. Growing up from different places, and especially for me, I grew up in the island of Taiwan, where people think it's Thailand. I'm gonna start at Thailand. I don't know if that's a common thing for you guys, but I get that all the time. But Taiwan, oh yeah, the beautiful beaches and the transgender people, I love it. So this piece just we premiered it as a working progress showing